You're welcome to the details now. The Danish government has supported government with 2 diabetes centers to help reduce the high incidence of diabetes in the country. It is estimated that 440,000 Ghanaians are living with the condition, with fears the number could rise to nearly 1 million cases by 2020 if Ghanaians do not adopt healthy lifestyles.
Diabetes is the second leading cause of non-communicable diseases in Ghana. Persons with the condition, 5% of cases remain undiagnosed, with serious implications for people living with the disease.
The random screening we did for over 465 people, we had 14 people who just walked in and were newly diagnosed. The key is education, 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 and education. A sixth of the population is threatened with this condition, but we can't boast of 5 trained diabetes care nurses in the country. When it comes to endocrinologists, we can't boast of 10 of them. So we've still got a lot to do.
Deputy Minister of Health Alfred Sugritia commissioned the center and called on Ghanaians to adopt healthy lifestyles. He expressed hope it would reduce the cost of treatment.
The Ministry of Health is pleased with the effort by Novo Nordisk in setting up diabetes centers to provide comprehensive diabetes care under one roof. We recommend that Novo Nordisk and other development partners collaborate with the Ghana Health Service to implement the interventions which are outlined in the National Non-Communicable Disease Policy and Strategic Plan to ensure that access to diabetes care is accessible at all levels of the health delivery system.
The 2 diabetic centers located at the Mamobi General Hospital and the Gas South Municipal Assembly, according to officials, will offer comprehensive diabetes care for patients.
It is to increase awareness of the disease, to screen and find early detection, access to quality care for those who are most in need, stable and affordable insulin supply, and last but equally important, improved self-treatment through patient education. It is a project, as mentioned, that we are doing in public-private partnership with the Mamobi General Hospital, PAB Pharmaceuticals, National Diabetes Association of Ghana, and of course us, together with the support from Ministry of Health.
The 2 centers are also expected to reduce the burden on the already overcrowded government hospitals, which used to handle diabetes cases.
Now, the Mamobi General Hospital does not have enough health workers to attend to patients. This, authorities have explained, is the reason why patients are made to wait, sometimes for as long as 3 hours before being attended to. The situation, according to them, impacts seriously on the hospital's ability to deliver quality health care.
The news team visited the Mamobi Hospital, which last year saw more than 80,000 patients living in and around Nima, Pig Farm, Mamobi and Newtown. The visit was prompted by several calls to the newsroom from people who complained about having to wait long hours for health care. Even though there were just a few patients when we got in on Friday morning, they complained about the long wait.
Sometimes people do come here around 6 o'clock in the morning. And then when they come, the doctors won't be around. So they will have to wait maybe for about 5 hours, let me say 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock before doctors will come. And even the queue here, when the doctors come, the queue will be too much. So they will have to, when one person goes inside, it's going to take a lot of time before that person comes out.
Our cameras captured this young man lying on the floor of the hospital, groaning in pain. And for over 15 minutes, he had no medical staff to attend to him. And when a nurse finally arrived, there was no stretcher or wheelchair to take him to the doctor. His brother, who brought him to the hospital, had to help him to the consulting room. The distraught sibling told me his brother was rushed to the hospital because he was suffering from a stomach ache. He confirmed to me the process had delayed because hospital officials were yet to complete his registration process.
The beginning was in doctor, but it couldn't win. And yes, I quite na also doctor na paint. I can cry bana. Also, mention kakra na bia obenya doctor for now I treating. So no must receive me when me kasa na there is normal. Okay, I like it, but you see, I say na be obenya doctor man ahwe no. That's the problem.
Other patients we spoke to shared similar experiences and appealed for assistance.
Last say me na krampo praye. Ya de ne ba yumbre be 6. Yes, a daughter knew. Ye Janahasa, Membamba, Manocrampo, your ward, nurse of one, and I'm a patcho. Ye Janahasa, Bay say, a cobo 7, answer daughter at the buy. Or Momana, ye people say, I'm from rich, and at the coy, until I had dear, we had an hour bread, ya, ubebrepa.
They want government as a matter of urgency to provide the hospital with enough staff to cater for their health needs. The authorities explain they are overwhelmed, especially because of the lack of enough doctors.
It's a big catchment area. The population is high, and I'll put it still to the low number of prescribers, low number of doctors. And I believe strongly that if we have those numbers, we will do it. I can't say we will emulate it totally, but at least we will reduce it. We will reduce the patient waiting time.
The Mamobi Hospital plays a critical role in the delivery of healthcare in the Ayawaso sub-metro, which has a population of more than 400,000.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Ebenezer Dentra, has blamed the state of the Mamobi Hospital on lack of funds to complete a planned upgrade of the facility. Moving on with some other stories. Now, the Ghana Medical Association has kicked against moves by government to have district assemblies across the country pay the salaries of medical doctors. According to the association, the move cannot be sustained. The doctors are currently paid by central government, but Health Minister Sherry Aite says those working in the various districts would be paid by the assemblies. Speaking on Thursday at a stakeholders meeting in the Bono Ahafo regional capital, Sunyani, she explained it forms part of government's decentralization policy and that the project will be piloted in phases in some assemblies that have enough revenue to support it before it is fully rolled out. But GMA President Dr. Kwabena Opoku-Edusei has described the announcement as very, very funny, in quote. And according to him, the doctors will not be distracted by the new development aimed at covering up government's failure to address issues regarding their conditions of service since 2011. We're still staying with health. Now, Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health has assured management of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital of government's commitment to complete the new maternity block at the hospital as soon as possible to reduce pressure on the facility. Joseph Yeleche, who visited the hospital with other committee members, said the situation at the maternity ward re-emphasizes the need to complete the 960-bed facility. Now, he says the committee would advocate for the completion of the block. A report by Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin.
This uncompleted maternity and children's block at the hospital was started about 40 years ago, but it is yet to be completed due to lack of funding. Nearly 25 million Ghana cedis has already been sunk into the project, but it will take another $55 million for it to be completed. According to the consultant at the site, the $55 million will cover physical completion and installation of equipment. Upon completion, it would be the third largest health facility in Ghana with 960 beds. It is expected to reduce the current pressure at the maternity wards at the hospital and improve quality of health care as well. Due to the current higher patient numbers, some of the sick are compelled to lie on the floor of the ward. Authorities at the hospital want Ministry of Health to, as a matter of urgency, complete the maternity and children's block by December this year.
Several times, nothing comes up. I have even on a few occasions talked to my own colleague. Incidentally, the Atani is my own colleague. It's now that he sits in higher power, so we can't talk too much. But we used to converse so much on many issues. So sometimes I tell him that, why is it happening that all the time this thing will be completed? Every year we hear it will be completed by the end of December. Then another year comes. I tell my people over here in this same room, I have been the person who always assures them that by December that building will be over, it will be completed. And the year comes by. Nothing is done. We've gone through that for several years.
Head of Directorate at the Obstetrics and Gynecology Department, Professor H.S. Opariado, raised concerns about conditions at the hospital. Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health assured the management of the ministry's commitment, but was unsure when the project will be completed, as there is currently no funding.
Once again, it re-emphasizes the need for us to complete this one. What can we do? A committee at best can advocate. A committee at best can prompt the executive on what they need to do if they have the resources. So as I promised them, we will go and look at the situation and talk to people who matter in this matter. But we don't have the resources ourselves to assure them of anything. So once these are constructed, it will decongest in terms of even tertiary care to those places. But that is why government is building rehabilitating the Rich Hospital.
He, however, urged the doctors and nurses at the hospital to continue with their good work. In an interview with Dr. Richard Atani, he described the condition at the health facility as sad and said government only needs to prioritize its activities in order to complete the block.
If you look at the structure here, you see that there's a real need for this structure to be finished so that the mothers, the babies and children can now be pushed here, and then there will be enough space for others to have some. The chairman has to be diplomatic. It's not a matter of having enough funds. It's a matter of prioritizing. You see, there are two different things. No government can ever have all the money that it needs, but the government definitely has priorities. And if a government prioritizes to complete something, the government can do it.
One of the doctors at the facility, Dr. Frank Ankobia, urged the health committee to look into the assault case at the facility.
Unfortunately, people have played down the assault on our members. People have played it down completely. Nobody mentions it. But I cannot find my way clear that an innocent person who comes to work is assaulted because of something. Yes, we agree. We are all hurt about that. But that gives nobody that opportunity to come and assault us whilst we are doing our work. And nobody is talking about it. We haven't heard of any prosecution. In fact, it's so sad. It's so sad. And I think the Parliamentary Select Committee will look in that aspect as well.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
Now, the shooting to death of one person in Bimbamong in the East Mamprusi district of the northern region has led to violent clashes between Tambosas and Bimobas. It is not clear yet the identity of the deceased or the reason for the attack. But the assembly member for the area, Nyumong Kolan, has confirmed there has been violent exchanges between members of the two farming communities. According to him, the deceased person suspected to be a Bimoba was shot Thursday dawn. He said the Bimobas in anger went to attack the Tambosas community late yesterday, who then retaliated. The violent clashes have led to severe injuries and several houses burnt. Nyumong Kolan said the police, in all cases, intervened to stop the attacks, but no arrest has yet been made. Now, to equip its officers to enhance crime fighting, the Ashanti Region Police Command is planning to deploy a lot more personnel on motorbikes. The two-wheelers the command believes will prove more useful in the pursuit of criminals, many of whom now use motorbikes. Deputy Regional Commander ACP Osekwe Kwampofu Duku says that motorbikes will also help the police maneuver tight alleys and walkways, which are often not accessible to cars. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Deputy Commander ACP Osekwe Kwampofu Duku appealed to philanthropists and organizations to assist them with motorbikes and other logistics to help them fight crime in the region. The Regional Police Command also paraded a number of suspects arrested in a series of operations over the past 2 weeks. They include 11 suspected armed robbers who are already on the police wanted list. 3 of them are said to have been responsible for the terror unleashed on travelers on the Ahinkro-Ofenso Highway. On the 27th of March this year, the operational team and CID personnel also arrested Dramani Siddiq, 39, Kwame Boache, Elias Kido, 38, Patrick Tete, 33, for their alleged involvement in Bokrom F-line robbery, where a Swiss national was robbed and raped. 1 pump-action gun with 3 live cartridges, 1 shotgun and locally made pistol, 2 jackknives, machete, One axe and 2 hoods were found on them. In another operation, 2 other suspected armed robbers were arrested at Bebu near Manso Abra. 24-year-old Akwesi Ajeman and 25-year-old Kwame Ntiako had planned to rob a bullion van and a Galamsey site there. They have also been remanded in police custody, assisting in investigations. 12 Galamsey operators were also arrested at Manso and Obuasi municipality, and they were all fined 600 Ghana cedis or in default 6 years imprisonment. 18 others were also arrested on the 31st of March 2014 and will soon be processed for court. Kofi Yeboah and Atubiga Anjade, 30, were arrested for their involvement during a clash between 2 youth factions. Kofi Yeboah, meanwhile, sustained gunshot wounds and was taken to the Agogo Government Hospital for treatment, but was later arrested together with Atubiga, who shot him. Meanwhile, the police has declared 4 other suspected robbers wanted and appealed to anyone with information on them to report for prompt action. They are Mohammed, Yao, Awudu and Bawa. The police has also reiterated commitment to give 1,000 Ghana cedis to any person with information that will lead to seizure of AK-47 from civilians.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command want to assure all and sundry, especially residents of the Kumasi Metropole, that we will do all it takes to get rid of criminals, especially criminals of violent crime, out of the city. Therefore, the regional command want to reiterate the fact that a reward of 1,000 Ghana cedis has been promised anybody who will help retrieve an AK-47 rifle that is commonly used by robbers in the metropolis.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report from the Ashanti region.
You're watching the Primetime Bulletin here on Joynews on Multi TV and also on ABN TV in Europe. We'll take a quick breather. When we return, we'll talk some politics and more news. Please stay. Many thanks for staying. Now, General Secretary Hopeful of the NPP, Kwabena Japan, is appealing to the rank and file of the party to disregard recent text messages suggesting that his camp does not have the interest of the NPP at heart. At a news conference in Accra, Kwabena Japan was of the opinion that what he describes as vile propaganda did not augur well for the development of the party and called on all those propagating the messages to stop.
Kwabena Ejapon was reluctant to name the people behind the said propaganda. He says it's designed to hurt his chances in the race for General Secretary on April 12.
And my disappointment is the lack of action from our executives, because whether you are contesting or not, you still remain an executive of our party. You know, so it is your duty to supervise and make sure that we don't bring the party's name into disrepute. But if the executives themselves are now bringing the party's name to disrepute, then you expect at least the elders to step in. You know, and so far nobody has called any of these people who have spoken out of 10 to book, and I think that is disappointing.
He touched on his campaign so far, saying he remains optimistic, having visited all 270 constituencies and interacted with all the party delegates.
I have visited 274 constituencies, and I chose to show respect to our party by going individually to each constituency. I think that is the proper thing to do if you are humble and you are a grassroots man. Grassroots is by deed, not by words. And I have shown to them that I'm a grassroots campaigner by visiting them in their locations. And so as I sit here, I have a state of the party. God willing, when I become General Secretary after the 12th, I know how to support the rebuilding exercise of our party.
He advised party supporters and delegates to be resolute in their quest to choose leaders who will lead the NPP into victory in 2016.
Let's go to the George Walker Bush motorway, which is also known as the N1 highway. It is noted for the rather high number of accidents recorded there. President Mahama has had cause to also complain about the theft of street lights there. It, however, turns out something else has caught the interest of the supposed thieves, bolts and nuts holding the crash barrier in place. Adelaide Arthur has more.
The crash barriers come in handy, especially on a highway where vehicles drive at speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. Most of those, especially in the median of the freeway extending from the Tetekwashi interchange to Malam Junction here in Accra, is however damaged. Though vehicle crashes account for most of the damage, a lot of them have simply fallen off. I'm on the N1 highway a few meters from the Tetekwashi interchange. I've been finding out from motorists how safe they feel when they drive on expressways without the protection of crash barriers.
The government needs to see to all of them. Yeah, because it's not the best we go in, seeing, break down barriers and co. And the police too should be helping. They need to help us because now we are not safe at all.
Most of these things depends upon the driver. It is not the type of barriers that, because sometimes when you see some of the crashes, you ask yourself whether the person is rather driving with in a sound mind or having a problem before driving.
I would suggest if they can put something like a plastic one or so, because the metal, sometimes if you divert from the road and hit it, the impact is too great. So you, the driver, sometimes you may not survive.
We, the drivers, if somebody want to come to your lane, it doesn't show any traffic data, it just enter your lane. And so you to try to swerve and maybe that thing will come to broke it. So I think what they are saying is true. We broke it, we drive through it.
It may take a while for the authorities to fix the crash barriers, but that wouldn't exactly solve the problem, at least as far as the police is concerned. The Tesano District Police Command says they are aware the barriers are being pillaged by thieves.
Some of them could have been as a result of accidents, but there are some unscrupulous individuals who are deliberately removing them. At one particular time, one of my patrol teams came across a group of people, but when they saw the team, they just dropped the railings and then they ran away. So we're able to retrieve it and it's in our custody now. But as recent as a week or so ago, one gentleman, a civilian, saw another guy, a suspect now, an accused person now, actually in the process of removing the bolts and nuts from some of these railings that's where on our highway.
She says they tried to police the 14-kilometer stretch, but would appeal to the public to support by reporting suspicious acts to the police.
Well, let's do some education. Now, the ongoing 2014 West African Senior School Certificate Examination has so far been incident-free, at least at the centers the Education Minister visited Friday. Professor Joynews Opoku-Agyeman attributes this to the measures put in place by her ministry. She, however, acknowledged the problem of inadequate infrastructure, as a result of which some candidates had to sit for the exam in uncompleted buildings.
The minister visited Laboni Senior High School, La Presec, Teshi Presby Senior Technical, Nungwa Secondary, and interacted with school authorities and examination officials who assured her all was going well. The candidates were writing the English paper. Her tour ended at the Kaneshi Senior Technical School, where she told journalists she was satisfied with the conduct so far.
It's been very important that we go around to see what really is happening on the ground. What we have seen makes us very comfortable because we know that all the preparation that has gone in from the teachers, the students, the West African Examinations Council, and also the invigilators. What we saw was very orderly. Students were writing the exams or getting ready to write. The invigilators were at work. The papers were there on time. There were no hitches. And our hope is that such is the case everywhere.
She said her ministry is tackling the issue of inadequate infrastructure.
When it's examinations time, you need to create more space than you normally do in a classroom setting. And therefore, some of the chairs have to be moved out. We need to use every available space, including the projects that are ongoing. What we are doing as a ministry is to collate all of them and rank them according to the rate of completion. What we want to do is to look at those, let's say 90% complete, 95% complete, and finish them up so that they'll be of use, even as we work on those that have not advanced so far.
In all, 242,152 candidates, comprising 126,919 males and 115,238 females, are expected to write the examination at 809 centers. Matilda Pamaga for Joynews, Accra.
And we continue to wish them all the best in their papers. But when we return from this break, we'll bring you business news. Don't go away. Now let's do some business. Well, from next month, you are likely to pay more for any service rendered to you by a financial institution. Joy Business has gathered that the banks, together with the Ghana Revenue Authority, have now agreed for the levy on their service to be implemented from May instead of this April. Sources say this could mean that the cost of some services offered by the financial institutions could go up by as much as 17.5% unless they decide to absorb the tax. Still on banking, one of the victims of the March 7 shooting incident at the Debbie Avenue branch of Cowbank has sued the Attorney General, IGP, and the bank for the abuse and injuries he suffered. 3 persons, including Nathaniel Norte, were wounded by repeated firing by Corporal Bernard Frimpong at the banking hall following a confrontation. Lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu, who filed the suit on behalf of Nathaniel, is hoping this will protect the fundamental right of Nathaniel.
Various steps have been taken since the incident occurred. Among others, the police council has been meeting to come up with some disciplinary measures. The officer in charge has been detained. Some further investigations are ongoing. But today at the Human Rights Court, what we did was to file a human rights action for the protection of the fundamental rights of Nathaniel. Now, when you look at Article 33 of the 1992 Constitution, anytime an individual or a citizen is of the view that his right is being or is about to be breached, that citizen, without prejudice to any other action that he can take, can apply to the court for that right to be protected. So in this case, we went to court for the protection of the right to life, the right to privacy of the person, the right to, dignity, of our client, which we believe that the shooting incident actually violated. And given the fact that this occurred at the premises of the bank and according to the facts instigated by an officer of the bank, we decided to go and proceed against Attorney General, the IGP, the police officer in question, and Cowbank. We sued them jointly and severally for 1.5 million Ghana cedis, 500,000 Ghana cedis as a constitutional damage, and 1 million Ghana cedis as consequential damage as a result of the injuries suffered because of the shooting incident.
A-Link State Transport Company Intercity STC will be undergoing some rigorous restructuring to revamp its operations. The company is now running on just about 20 buses, leading to a steady decline in revenue and huge debt. The company's major shareholder, SNET, has decided to offload its shares, and government is considering whether to take over. Even before that decision, the board chairman, Patrick van der Poy, says prudent commercial measures would be taken to ensure the company acquires new buses. He also says the board will also look into concerns raised about workers' remuneration, but was quick to add that any review will depend on how much revenue the company accrues.
Let's talk sports now. An acting CEO of Asante Kotoko, Samuel Opokunti, has backed his side to win the Premier League of the season, actually at the expense of the Chasing Pack. The Porcupine Warriors have a healthy 9-point lead over rivals Accra Hearts of Oak and face Bichim United in a crucial game this weekend. But their recent slump in form, which saw them pick a solitary point from a possible 12, have led to calls they may be overtaken by the Chasing Pack. But Opokunti says the Phobians should be concerned about Midyama SC, who could usurp them if they win all 3 games in hand.
I think they should think of Midyama instead of Kotoko, because Midyama will have is having 3 more matches to play, and when they are able to go through, they will overtake us and become second. So I think instead of us looking onto Kotoko, they should look their back.
Is that to say that Kotoko has already captured the league title ahead of time?
Till now, I would say we have captured. We have lost, but I think the downfall of a man is not the end of his life. I think we will bounce back. We always bounce back after we have taken these losses. But one thing is sure, that sometimes complacency set into the boys, talking to them. And I think what we did at Brekum shows that really they are still coming back.
Meanwhile, Premier League sponsors First Capital Plus are actually saying they're very excited with how the league is going currently. Nana Yaokese is marketing manager of First Capital Plus Bank.
I can say that so far so good. We're happy. We're enjoying a whole range of goodwill from various stakeholders, especially from the media. And for some reason, I can say a lot of things are happening now. For example, look at today's session. A lot of things are happening. And I might want to classify all of that as divine coincidence, because it looks as if there's this energy which is being brought back into the league. So I'm sure that with time, Ghana's Premier League will become Africa's topmost league. But there's a lot of work to be done. We are not disillusioned at all as to the quantum of work that has got to be done. But we can say that from where we sit, so far so good.
A bit of juvenile sports now, and finalists from Eastern, Southern and Western Africa will battle it out for the right to be crowned overall winner of the African Milo Under-13 Championships on May 29 in Lagos, Nigeria. Ghana will be represented by Zogbeli LA Primary from Tamale. The Nigerian commercial capital, Lagos, will host the 3rd edition of the Milo African Championships, a Pan-African football competition organized every 2 years for school children under the age of 13 by Nestle. The 3-day tournament, which kicks off on the 29th of May 2014, will see 2 West African football giants, Ghana and Nigeria, going head-to-head alongside Kenya, representing Eastern Africa, and South Africa defending the pride of Southern Africa. The tournament was initially due to be hosted by Kenya, but the change in venue to Africa's largest Milo market was very welcome by Nestle Nigeria. Ghana, the defending champions of the African title, will be represented by Zogbeli LA Primary School, Tamale, who won an exciting national final held in Kumasi from 17th to 21st of March 2014. Zogbeli held off challenges from 9 other schools and is eager for the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of SOS Children's Village School, Tamale, who won the African Cup in 2012 at the Elwak Stadium. That's your sports. Have a good weekend.
Welcome now to the lighter side of the news. Now, the use of drums appear to be on the decline in contemporary Ghana. It appears they are relevant only for churches and cultural troops who seem to patronize them. So, is it that we have abandoned our culture as drums appear to be missing from our daily activities? That is the story that we'll be bringing to you a bit later on. But now, Nigeria's soulful talent Emmanuel Kula, known in music circles as Bez, says he draws a lot of inspiration from Ghana's peaceful atmosphere. Now, he had a one-on-one encounter with Showbiz.
And I say these words, every little thing we do, for you don't know what it takes, you would too,
I've been performing professionally for 7 years, but I've been playing the guitar, I mean, from when I was 9, so it's been a long time since I really started music. I think it comes naturally when you play a string instrument like the guitar, for example. You need to express yourself in a certain kind of way. It's the same way when you play the piano, you need to express yourself in a certain kind of way. I think the difference and the uniqueness is when you're able to use that instrument in a different way, you know, like the way I make it percussive, or, you know, so I think sometimes, you know, you find that people sing mellow just because of the instrument, and it's a standalone instrument. Now if I add drums, the bass, the electric guitar, you know, it's a different sound, you know, so sometimes it can just be because it's a standalone instrument that it feels that way. I mean, I always say my purpose in life is to add value to people through the music that I do. So I use the music that I do as the vehicle to add value to people, and it can be in different ways. You know, I've seen artists who look up to me to say, hey, listen, you're in this specific, you know, I mean, you're in this specific level of your life and your career. What can you advise us to do? What can you do for us? And, you know, sometimes I help, you know, with, you know, can I help with studio sessions? Can I help with advice? Can I tell you how I started? Can you, you know, so at the end of the day, you're adding value to people through this music that you're doing.
Play that stupid song from the days when we were young. Everybody sing along, everybody say, ooh.
As we sign off this interview, I would like to share my rules of the world. Remember the rules of the world. That is, whatever you sow, you shall reap. You know, when you sow in large and bountifully, you know, you reap bountifully. So just, you know, keep that in mind, and make sure that whenever you're out there helping people, make sure you give your all, because you never know where that takes you to.
Just give it all you've got. Give it all you've got, for you don't know where it takes you to. Just give it all you've got. Give it all you've got. And I'll say these words, every little thing you do. For you don't know where it takes you to. Just give it all you've got, and give it all you've got, and give it all you've got.
I can listen to you all day.
Thank
you, Bez.
Thank you very much.
Showbiz indeed got inspirational tonight, but do watch out for that drum story. We will surely bring it to you, but that's it for Showbiz for now. Still some more local news available. The counsel for Francis Ajari, the man who was wrongfully remanded for over 14 years, has successfully secured a judgment certificate to claim the compensation awarded the victim. Counsel for the victim, Francis Soso, explained what this means earlier to Joynews.
We filed an ex parte application for the certificate of judgment, and the court heard the application today and ordered that certificate of judgment be issued, and same must be served on the Accountant General and the Attorney General, so that they can then proceed with the payment of the compensation that was awarded to Francis Ajari. There is no specific deadline given to Accountant General to pay up this money, but in the unlikely event that it unduly delays, then we may have no option than to use other legal means, you know, to compel the Attorney General or to compel the Accountant General to pay that money. In the event that our claims have been properly approved and sent to Accountant General or for payment and they are not paying, we can actually go for an order of mandamus compelling them to pay, or take some specific orders based on which we can even go for contempt applications and so on and so forth. But we are honestly hoping that it wouldn't get that far, given the fact that all of us believe that this is a legitimate case in which this young man needs to be compensated.
The Greater Accra Regional Youth Wing of the opposition New Patriotic Party has held its maiden organizers forum for 8 aspiring national youth organizers to deliberate on what they will do when they attain office and plans they have to help the party clinch power in 2016. That's it for tonight. Our top stories again. Patients complain about lack of doctors at Mamobi General Hospital. Parliamentary Select Committee on Health assures management of Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital of government's commitment to complete expansion of the maternity ward. And the Ashanti Region Police Command is to deploy more motorbikes in a new crime combat strategy. Also in politics, NPP General Secretary Hopeful condemns text messages being circulated around. He says are designed to hurt his chances in upcoming national executive elections. We do appreciate your company with us. My name is Gifty Ando Apia, but up next is PM Express, and I'm sure you want to stay for that. Good evening.